We are going to be playing a harmonica in the key of C for this lesson. I'm using a Hohner Rocket here. Okay, the first lick sounds like this. So 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. All right, so this is how it goes. We start with a 1 draw, and then we have a 2 whole step draw bend. It's kind of hard to land on this note, but it is used all the time when playing the blues. If you go back and listen to like the famous blues harmonica players in the heyday of the harmonica, man, there's so much time spent on these last 2 holes. There's so much you can do there. And so don't forget that those notes exist. We want to spend a lot of our time in kind of like the middle octave, the middle register there. And in reality, a lot of blues players spend a ton of time on the very bottom of the harp. And this lick is going to do that. So it goes like this. We start with a 1 draw. And then we go to a 2 whole step draw bend. Back to the 1 draw. Back to the 2 whole step draw bend. And then to a 2 draw. All right, and the rhythm is like following this kind of a pattern. It's like a dotted 8th note pattern. Now, we don't need to go this fast. We can take it nice and slow. Just like that. All right, let's move on. This is lick number 2. 2, 3. All right, so I want to pause on this one. Now, the first lick that we did was hanging around the 1 chord. Now, we know this because that 2 draw there, that's the root note of the 1 chord. If you don't know what I'm talking about chords, I go over that in the first video in this series. Now, lick number 2, on the other hand, is something that is moving using the blues scale up to the 4 chord, up to the C if we're playing on a C harmonica. Now, what I'm doing there is 2 draw, and then 3 half step draw bend. But as you can hear, mine sounds a little bit different. So I'm doing vibrato there. Now, if you can't do that skill, don't stress. You could always use your hand if you really want to. Doesn't sound quite the same, but it's close. I really like this one because I like adding that vibrato there, adding that expression on the 3 draw half step bend. And then, of course, we end on the 4 blow. And that, if you are paying attention to the chords, that's the root of the C chord, of the 4 chord in the blues progression. So when we're playing this with a backing track, we're going to play this lick when we're moving to that C chord. That is lick number 2. Just one more time. Ready? All right, let's move on. Now it's time for lick number 3. This one goes like this. All right, so here's how this works. We start with a 3 blow. Now, you might be thinking, Jonah, 3 blow is not in the scale that you taught us last week. Well, it happens to be the same note as 2 draw. Now, I bet you're kind of confused. Not a lot of instruments have like 2 adjacent notes that are the same note. It's a little kind of weird. And it's the same note. They're both that G, which is the root note of the 1 chord. It's really nice actually having that 3 blow because, as you know, on harmonica, we're kind of doing this juggling thing where we're blowing and we're drawing, and we don't want to hyperventilate or run out of breath. And so it's nice to be able to switch between the blow and the draw when you need to just kind of release a little bit of tension. And I really like that. Now, generally, we don't do the 3 blow as the main like part of the scale that we're learning because, number one, it's just easier to think of the 2 draw being a separate whole, being a different like note of the scale. It just makes more sense. And the other big reason is because you can do a lot of expression on the 2 draw that you can't on the 3 blow, like vibrato, as I showed you before. If you want to learn how to do that, I do have a video I made a while back, but I will be making a refresher of that very soon. All right, so we have the 3 blow here in this lick, and then 3 draw, half step bend, 4 blow, 4 draw, half step bend, and 4 draw. Together it sounds like this. All right, that's lick number 3. Okay, lick number 4 is really simple. It's just this. Okay, that's it. And all we're doing here is 4 draw, 4 draw, half step bend, and then 4 blow. As I've been going through these licks, I've been saying that some of them center around certain chords. Now, this one is no different, but this is like something that is used to pass into a different chord. Now, the first lick focuses on the 1 chord. The second lick focuses on the 4 chord. The third lick focuses on the 5 chord. I hope you see where I'm going with this. And this one is something to move from the 5 chord to the 4 chord. So the 4 draw, that's the root of the 5 chord. And then we play the 4 draw half step bend, which, as you remember from last week's video, probably, that's called the blue note, okay? It's slightly lowered to kind of give it a little bit of a bluesy twinge to it. And then we end on the 4 blow. Okay, so when we are playing this in the context of a blues, we play it when we go from a 5 chord to the 4 chord. Now, if you know the chords in a 12-bar blues, you'll know that this happens every single time in the last 4 bars of the 12-bar blues progression. So there is one definite spot that you can use this every time the music comes around. All right, and the last lick we are going to do today, lick number 5, is something incredibly common, and we use it to end a 12-bar blues. It's so short that I wouldn't call it a turnaround. Now, a turnaround, when I think of them, I think of it as something that tracks either the last 4 or maybe the last 2 bars in a 12-bar blues or a longer blues. But in this case, this is something that's used in like the last, like, I don't know, I haven't counted it out, like 2 beats or something. And it just goes like this. That's it. It's very similar to the first lick we learned, right? But it's done in reverse, and we end on that 1 draw, which, as I talked about in last week's video, that is the lower octave root of the 5 chord. A lot of music theory going on here. I hope you're keeping up with me. So this one goes 2 draw, 2 draw whole step bend, and then 1 draw, and 1 draw again. And it sounds like this. All right, and that is lick number 5. I hope you figured some of these out. So if you're ready, we're going to jump over to some slides where I'm going to be playing a 12-bar minor blues backing track, which you can find the link to down below in the description. But I did retune it for the purpose of this video, so something to keep in mind. And we're going to try playing along with this together, and hopefully it'll be something that will help you kind of remember these licks and integrate them into your playing. So let's go give this a shot. Here it goes. We have the music here on the left. We're going to play it just like that. When it's your turn to play, I'm going to have a marker going down so you can keep time. I'm going to give you a quick demo here just so you have an idea of what we're doing. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it, and then you'll be able to try this twice on your own. So let's try this. Here's a demo. that's how this is going to go. As I said before, when it is your turn to do this, there's going to be a marker so you don't lose where you are in the song. Now, as you heard, there's like a bit of a rest after I play these phrases. Now, if you want to, if you have the ability, you can use the blues scale or even the major pentatonic scale to go do a little bit of soloing and then come back to these licks as a way of like anchoring you to the progression and also just getting some practice. So it is time for you to try this. I hope you give it a shot, and if you want to play it a little bit more, just rewind the video or go play it with the original backing track with a D harmonica. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. I will see you guys next time.